Yeah. It's been good to attend, and thank you. Okay, so final painting in the series as well.
Michelle has just asked if she can see the beetle on Instagram Live. So here.
Is that showing up okay?
Yeah. It's pretty huge.
Yeah, and this one didn't make it because all of the insects that I used were ones that were meant to be doing really well. And this one I wasn't sure. I kept getting contradictory information about is it going to be endangered or is it not this precise species. So yeah, didn't quite make sense. Yeah. So let's start by going through and looking at some of the paintings. So just to give you a sense of scale, some of them are quite big, but it's hard to tell in pictures. So that's how big they are. And I'll just swap this camera around. There. Okay, so yeah, you can see those insects on there. Just to give a sense of how big it is next to my hand. Yeah, and this is actually a painting of a close friend, Jacqueline, and she always gives me a lot of good advice and guidance, and is very hardworking. She described herself once as one of those beetles that can carry much more than their own weight. So that's why I've decorated the shirts with these scarab beetles over here. There's even one crawling out of the sleeve over there as well.
Sarah says, wow.
Thank you. So, the next one is of my friend Jake, who works a lot in conservation projects, and he is currently in an eco lodge in the Seychelles. Very far away, but this was painted while he was in Sydney, obviously, and you can see that there is real snake skin over there. Mostly sea snake, that's a bit of python, but it's mostly sea snake, so it's quite relevant because he works in conservation of turtles and other marine life, and definitely these are not creatures that are endangered in any way. They're all as ethically sourced as you could. This next one is of another friend, Oais, who's a fashion and textile designer, and he works actually down the road in Queen Street at Reed. And this was the first attempt at snakeskin. Took a lot of experimenting because I had to try and get the snakeskin shade here to the surface and try and paint oil paint onto snakeskin. It took a lot of trial and error, but yeah, I was happy with the final product. Hope everyone can see that. Okay.
If you think of anyone...
let me just go around to this one.
Yep, it's real snake skin.
Yeah, real snake skin and all these. This one, obviously, these are painted on. I'll just try and get away from the reflection. But yeah, these are my own hands. Everyone says I have big hands. Long fingers, actually. Yeah, but I tried a version of this with real insects, not a real octopus, but real spiders and scorpions and beetles, but it was a bit too distracting, so I went with this version in the end, which was a little bit more subtle. And I will come back to that one. Let's get across to this. Yeah, I really like this one. This is actually a friend of ours, Takumi, who has this lovely brand of clay mugs, coffee cups that he makes. And if anyone's on Instagram, you can check out his work. His account is Clayboy, and he has some really, really beautiful cups that he makes and other objects as well. So this was actually from a series of drawings that I did in his studio down near Botany, and I was sketching him while he was working. And that's actually stuff that's oozing out is bitumen, which is like the bitumen that you get on the road. And you can see how thick the
She gently
clay
lifts
is
up.
over there. I just took it out of the, it's hard to see on camera, but it's really, really thick paint plastered onto the black clay. There's another one of him as well. Over here, just to get it into the scaling. This is a pretty large painting. This is also to me. But this one is a little bit of a wider shot, where you can see I'll just switch the camera again, where you can see the face a bit more. And that shirt, the color in the shirt is actually similar to the color that he uses in his clay mugs, that like beautiful mesmerizing turquoise sort of shade. And again, like very, very thick paint on the edge of the black clay. Yeah, there's just 2 or 3 more to go. This is of my friend Sam. You can see the bishop's hat there as well, with snakeskin again. And Tam's also very passionate about conservation, and she and I have collaborated in lots of projects together over the years. This is another portrait of Jake. Everyone remembers the other one. That's the other one there. And this is the other portrait of Jake. This one, the blue stuff here is actually hospital scrubs. So Jake used to work as a theatre assistant in a hospital theatre. So that's his sort of background, and it forms the background of this painting as well. And the last one that I have is this one here. This is a personal favorite. And yeah, this is meant to be the final work in the series, and it's about like endings and about like our time being limited, and that's the sort of metaphor there. And you can see the bishop's hat being used there as well as a symbol of authority.
I'm very careful with the painting. Mish says, wow.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for all the messages, guys. Sorry I can't respond to them right away, but I'm just going to go back to the
Leave the bitumen alone.
that to see. You can tell the shaky camera work, but not too easy. Yeah.
Bit?
So, yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed that. And I think there's a couple of messages and questions there.
So if anyone on Instagram Live has any messages or questions, just type that in and I'll speak to Kiro. Paul says, amazing work, Kiro.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul. And yeah, if anyone wants, feel free to unmute yourselves as well if you want to say anything as well. But yeah, great. Thank you for all the messages. There's some really nice ones there.
Krupa says, this is a timely metaphor.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Sue.
From Sydney as well. He's my friend Grace. Jake actually is also a friend of mine, and he gave me the link, and he didn't say that he was actually in the exhibition.
Oh.
So we were just we were going along, and all of a sudden I didn't see him.
Yes.
You picked a great person to, I think, capture in art, because he himself is quite, his personality is a work of art. He's really
Yes. Yeah, and I spoke to Jake this morning as well from the Seychelles, and yeah, it was really, really a pleasure painting him as well, and really lovely personality to capture. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you.
So,
Thanks, Mom.
Congratulations, and I am proud of you.
I'm so happy that you could join as well. Everyone, that's my mom over there, if you can see or hear her. Yeah.
So just very quickly on Instagram Live, Ness says her favorite is the one of your hands and the insect.
Oh.
Mish says, who looks better in the priest hat, Tam or Vic?
Oh, is Tam on here? Let me just check whether Tam's on here first.
Of course I look better in the priest hat.
Vic looks better in the priest hat, definitely.
And Alison says, brilliant, Kiro, love them. Paul also asks if you're going to be painting the Ruby Princess.
Paul, if you can get me above the Ruby Princess, on one of your drones, I will be painting the reprint list. You just need to get a bigger drone, and I can paint it from life.
So that's a yes.
That's a possible yes. Very, very relevant.
And he loves your shirt.
Oh. Yeah, he hasn't seen this one before. Oh, someone from Grace. How long does each painting take? Yeah, it does vary. Thanks, Grace. I usually spend a month or two on each painting, but usually I have worked on lots of other paintings leading up to that work. So it's hard to say how much of time it takes for one painting because there's lots of practice that goes into it. But yeah, probably paint for about 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours a day, and if I'm working on a painting for a month, you can see how long that takes. Yes.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
So Sarah says she loves the clay pictures and she's wondering how long those took.
Oh, the clay ones. Yeah, so those ones probably also took about a month each. But some of them, for instance, I start working on them, leave them for a week or two, start working on something else, and come back to them. So I might be working on a painting sometimes for up to 6 months, but there are other paintings I'm doing at the same time and trying to work things out. And with oil paint as well, like if you paint a layer of oil paint, you can't paint another layer directly on top of it. You have to wait for it to dry, depending on how thick the paint is. Like that Playboy painting was really thick, so I had to wait about 2 weeks between the layers just to make sure there's no cracks in the painting afterwards. So it takes lots of waiting in between each layer with oil.
And Krupa's asked where the idea for the snake skin came from.
Where did the idea come from? Well, so that idea for the series was that I wanted to paint creatures that were not likely to do well in the future. So things that weren't reliant on a limited food source and things that could easily survive in different climates. And sea snakes seem to be, this particular type of sea snake seemed to be one of those. But also, the first painting that I did with the sea snake was of Oasis over there. And he actually is a fashion and textile designer. And the only material that he didn't, only pattern that he didn't work with was snakeskin or animal print. So I decided to use some sort of animal print in the background, and the patterns and snakes seemed to suit it really well. So it's that was the first painting I did, and that's why I wanted to use snakeskin, because it was referencing the animal print that he seemed to be uncomfortable with at the time.
Amanda also says she loves the clay pictures as well, especially the one with the bitumen.
Oh, yes. I'm trying to find another use for the bitumen as well. It had this really strong smell and gave me a bit of a headache afterwards, so I need to be more careful of it in the future. Yeah. Oh, I got a message from Awais. Yeah, he said he still is uncomfortable with the animal print. Yeah. Well, it looks nice next year at least. And Vanessa says the snake lens alone to the background. Thanks, Vanessa. I think we're just going to see if there's any questions as well.
You unmuted everyone so they can just speak.
I actually, Karen said what was the final one you had? You said a personal favourite with all the skulls in it.
Yes, so that's the one that I like to be less prescriptive of more than any of the others, because it's less of a nature reference, and I asked Vic what his opinion of it was, and he had a completely different explanation to what I thought of when I was painting. But it is definitely referencing some sort of ending, and the series is about the human species and how nothing lasts forever, and how so we've been around for, depending on which scientific source you look at, a very short period of time compared to many other animals and insects. And are likely to be around for a very short time compared to a lot of other insects as well. So it's just acknowledging that possible ending. And I think a lot of religions and cultures have symbols and icons and things symbolizing that ending, but we tend to shy away from those symbols in modern conversations.
What's really interesting about that painting is the very
well. You talked about the mitre being made in Mexico, the bishop's
Yes,
mitre.
that's right.
And with the skulls and also the colour that you used with the painting, I would have to say there's a very Mexican indigenous Day of the Dead sort of feeling at that one.
And that's something that I didn't think about at the time, so thanks for bringing that up. And I think with Catholic symbols specifically, there are a lot of skulls and things that some people might find a bit morbid, even in the European type of paintings and some of the Gothic artwork as well. And I'm drawn to that a little bit. Yeah. Thank you.
So on Instagram Live, Amanda has asked what my favorite painting is, and and Krupa's asked what my different take was on that final painting. So Amanda, my favorite painting is the final painting of the woman with the bishop's hat and the skulls behind her. Do you want to tell them what?
You tell them what your interpretation was.
So I thought that this was about, a statement about abuses of power, and this sort of this woman wearing the bishop's hat, which would traditionally be worn by a man, had the sort of concerned, contemplative look on her face, almost sort of thinking about the wrongs that might have been done. I don't know, I thought maybe in reference to the church, with those skulls sort of referencing, trauma and things that might have happened to people. So my interpretation was a bit more religious.
Yeah, and that's also because you've seen another work called Priest, which I did, which was referencing that. I did a work that was similar to that one there, with a Hindu priest instead of the female character, and that had icons of things like children's toys in the background, and that was referencing abuses of power in religious institutes. So that's probably why this one reminded you of that, because the layout and colours were exactly the same as that one as well.
Yes. So we've got another question saying the final painting is also my favourite, but why the bishop mitre?
So the bishop mitre I've used in a few paintings and drawings, and it's meant to symbolize It's meant to symbolize some sort of authoritative figure, and I like that sort of symbol. I think it suited the skull because of the Catholic Church imagery as well, and I also like the contrast between if you're normally like a serious male figure that you have wearing the bishop's mitre, and I just wanted to contrast that with firstly swapping the gender around and then changing the context to this more seductive sort of character. So there's more just to play around with the images and turn this sort of serious, authoritative thing into almost like a costume, making it a bit more tongue-in-cheek to remove that sort of power.
So there's a few more people that have just joined that are wanting to see the paintings again. I could just do a quick sort of pan through of all the paintings, and then you could take some more questions and comments after that. So if you want to give me that and just switch it around. Okay,
I will switch that around, and I can answer questions in the time being.
Oh, no, switch it the other way.
Sorry. You can tell that we're not used.
Okay, so we'll just give you a quick look at all of the paintings again, and then see if there's any final comments or. Yep, so this is.
Someone asked, do you map it up before you start, or do you just get started and see where the process takes you? So every painting starts with lots and lots of drawings. So this painting of Jacqueline that I did, I sat with her for a few hours and a couple of days and did lots of drawings of her. But the same thing with Jake and with all the others. I meet the people and draw them from life while I'm talking to them, and then decide which angle and which what sort of pose they like them to do. So there's not a lot of planning out before the drawing. And once drawing pattern, I select a couple of drawings that I could turn into paintings, and all these people have painted a couple of times.
Sienna, if you're still there, does that look familiar?
That's the kind of art Sienna was drawing at the last. Yeah, so there's a little bit of charts and there's a little bit of padding. You never know what it's going to look like. There's a lot of changes over as you're doing it. A lot of colors change. And Lois said, very topical exhibition. Yes, it is very, very topical to do with the threatening of the human species. And so I was obviously not happy that things were happening.
I think the mic might be on here still. Do you want to?
Oh, can everyone still hear me? Yeah. Let's finish up there and bring it back to the table. Great. It's starting to rain quite heavily as well. Yeah, I can't further away because Rick is walking around with the camera around the room, but he'll bring it back to the table now.
Okay, there you go. So we've just got Krupa asking if the final painting with the bishop's mitre was of somebody that you knew.
Yes. Well, Liv is an art model who's a model for a lot of my life drawing classes. So if anyone knows, I do life drawing classes on a fortnightly basis, and Liv is one of the models that I'm regularly supervising. So that's how I know Liv. So yeah, if anyone wants to unmute, you guys can unmute yourselves, or I can. Should I unmute everyone?
Yeah, just unmute everyone.
I don't know how this is going to work. This could just turn out to be a disaster, but I'm just going to unmute everyone now, and if you want to just shout out to say anything, feel free. Okay, so now I can hear you, I think. Yeah. Hi, who's... Hello. Hi, how are you?
Sorry we couldn't join you with a glass of wine.
That's okay. Yes, it's 9 something in South Africa, so I got a lot of people joining in Durban and Johannesburg, and it's 9:30 in the morning there, so unfortunately they are not drinking. And Sarah Coles is there in the UK as well, and she is not drinking either.
So
Lois is drinking tea, allegedly, I think. Is it tea?
Well, I'm drinking ginger beer. And Maeve, our friend from Melbourne, says she loves your work.
Thanks, Maeve.
And Maeve, I love your pictures that you're doing of people's pets. And I'm going to send you a picture, Scouts.
Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah, the next series, there might be a couple. Scouts might make an appearance in the next series as well. For those of you who don't know, Scouts, a little whippet, puppy still, 15 months old. Yeah. So she's very special to us. Yes.
Well done, Russian.
Thanks very much.
And we're lucky to have most of the paintings in Rio.
Yes, yeah. So a lot of you have seen the paintings in real life. Scout is in the other room because in case she jumps up and some of the paintings are on the floor, and she loves the bugs on the painting. So whenever she wants, she tries to steal these from the paintings. There was one painting that I had that had a bunch of moths in it, and every time I'd go into the room, there'd be little bits bitten off the wings. So yeah, that's why That's why Scout is not in the room, because she likes insects very much. And these works, for those of you who remember, were also at the King's Cross Library a few months ago. Not all of them, but I think 6 of the works in this room were at the King's Cross Library. So thank you for those of you who got a chance to see it there. And hopefully more of you get to see it in September when it's on show at the Gaffer.
So I might just see if there's any final comments, requests, questions on Instagram Live. Does anyone want to see any of the paintings again? And then we'll do the same with Zoom in a sec.
I think that's everyone.
No?
Yeah.
I think everyone's good.
Yeah. But thank you everyone for joining. And yeah, if you have any questions at all, please free to send them through to me. Or I hope that everyone is staying in contact with each other and trying to stay sane during this difficult time. And obviously, if you need anything at all, just give us a shout and just stay in contact with each other. It's very, very important.
Yes. And Sarah from next door says that she thinks you're very talented.
Thanks,
and
Sarah.
I do too.
Thanks very much.
I agree.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, thanks everyone.